What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. Today is episode 9 of Mercury through Signs, and we'll be discussing Mercury and Sagittarius. So what's Mercury? Mercury is our analytical intelligence, how we read, how we write, how we memorize things, our overall intellect. Mercury is our communication style, how we interact with others, how the words sound coming out of our mouths. And Mercury is our skills, more specifically skills by hand or hobbies, okay? Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a sign of higher learning, of adventure. It's a fire sign. It's ruled by Jupiter. It also represents our father's teachings, okay? The things that, we gain from our father. Or, like I said before, a higher learning in life. Alright? Also religion, philosophy, all that good stuff. So let's get into it. Now, as we know, Mercury traditionally rules Gemini and Virgo. So, with Mercury and Sagittarius, you are a whole 180 degrees away from your home sign. This creates a very interesting dynamic. So the first thing I want to say about Mercury and Sagittarius, and it's interesting. This series, I always knew I was going to do this series, but I was chopping it up with one of my friends, and she was giving lots of praise to Mercury and Gemini. And I just wanted to enlighten her that, everything that glitters ain't gold. Like, it's definitely, having Mercury and Gemini definitely has its advantages, but Mercury through signs, you'll see, where you can get more out of a position. And I feel like you can get a lot out of a Mercury and Sagittarius. Why? Because Mercury, our intelligence, is searching for the higher meaning within things. So, the mode of Mercury in Gemini is to learn as much as it can and to communicate that and keep on learning. Sagittarius is about mastery. I want to master this particular subject. And if you watch Mercury and Gemini, I gave this as a huge bit of advice. Seek to become a master of something. So, first thing I want to say about Mercury and Sagittarius is that they are excellent students, right? And of course, this is going to be contingent upon who? Jupiter. What is Jupiter doing? What sign is Jupiter in? So, the reason I say they're excellent students is because they seek to get the most out of, what it is that they're learning. The next way I could phrase it is that they have a stronger attention span than Mercury and Gemini. Okay? So, there's more than one thing, traditionally, or the mundane way to interpret this would be like, oh, this is, someone who is very philosophical or very religious. Nah, we really want to look here at Jupiter, because this is where the real wisdom is going to come in life. Say we have a Mercury in Sagittarius with a Jupiter in Taurus. This is somebody who can be, a Warren Buffett, even a Donald Trump, somebody who, they're high, depending on how the chart plays out, right? There's many factors to consider, can become a financial guru. Okay? If Mercury is in Aries, if Jupiter is in Aries, this can show a really, really good athletic coach, whether it be soccer, football, whatever, okay? Somebody who motivates through their communication. Alright, so we really want to pay attention to where Jupiter is. Now, if Jupiter is at home in its own sign with Mercury, this is where the natural philosopher comes out. Okay, if Jupiter is in Scorpio, that natural occultist. So keep in mind, the intelligence is in this position more than not, because Jupiter is our wisdom in life and the things we're going to expand upon. This is where the, a lot of the focus will be. It's going to play towards that Jupiter sign and try to extract the higher meaning from it. All right. Now, communication wise, these guys are some of the funniest in the zodiac. So Mercury and Gemini wants to sell you stuff, right? They want to teach you in a very relatable way. Mercury and Sagittarius wants to break it down for you. They like to tell elaborate stories. They like to communicate with, that optimism, lots of joy and things like that. So even if a person isn't a preacher, they may have a preachy style about them. Whatever it is that they hold dear to their heart, they will seek to tell you lots of stories and the higher wisdom behind whatever it is. So when you have a friend that has Mercury in Sagittarius, they are going to be quite entertaining to communicate with. Everyone won't always feel this way, right? But here's the trick. Because I've heard I don't know, Mercury and Sag, they're just not that interested. With Mercury and Sag, they gravitate towards people who believe the same things that they believe. Or they gravitate towards people who can teach them about the wisdom of life, about a particular philosophy. Now, what I've also noticed here, and this goes into the 9th house and Sagittarius as a whole, is that these people can also be quite discriminating. Okay? This can represent, depending on certain alignments, this can represent somebody who only communicates with people of their own religious background, who speak the language that they speak, okay? Who may be only the same race as them. So yes, if Jupiter is harshly aspected or in a very tough position, this can produce somebody who is racist, just flat out. Okay, so on the flip side, it could also just produce somebody who's super devoted to whatever it is that they're about. This is quite the interesting position here. And as we go, like I said, you always want to look towards the opposite sign to see how you can get the most out of your Mercury or whatever planet it is. Okay? So with that being said, that this Mercury can be a little closed-minded, a little bit, tied into what they know and who they know. The way to really expand this Mercury and get the most out of it is to become more social. Play to the Gemini strengths. Seek to have a wide range of friends. Seek to be around people who challenge your beliefs. Alright? This is very, very important. Next thing I wanted to say about Mercury Sagittarius, like I said before, it relates to the teachings of your father. So this could be one of the positions I like to call a legacy position. All the fire signs really, can be legacy positions, meaning, what we see being demonstrated before us, by our parents, and more specifically our fathers or male role models, is something that we come to take upon, ourselves. So with this relating to religion, it's kind of like a religious kind of thinking. So this person, depending on how they came up, that's going to also play into what they believe. Okay? Just to touch back on Jupiter being how Jupiter has an effect, right? If Jupiter is in a sign like Aquarius, this person is likely going to reject everything that is taught to them and really want to find their own way. But for the most part, father's influence or father's knowledge becomes your knowledge. One of my most memorable readings was for somebody who grew up with a father in the circus. Man, I love it because I'm able to learn. Their father was part of a traveling circus or state fairs and stuff like that, and they did caricatures, and this person came up to do the same thing, but eventually hit a point in their life where I want to break out of this. You know, I want to kind of do my own thing. All right. So, like I said, father's teachings is going to be very important, and just overall what you're exposed to early on, whether it be culture, you know, religion, or whatever. This is how this Mercury it develops. Okay, and then from what you're taught, you find the higher wisdom behind that. So, like I said, this is actually one of my favorite places for Mercury, and this also shows why you can't take everything you read out here on the internet or in, you know, astrology books as the law. Because from my own, I remember getting into astrology and they're always saying, oh, Mercury doesn't do well in Sagittarius, but that just hasn't been the case for me. The biggest thing, like I said, that I've seen is that the Mercury may be, you know, closed-minded and you know, only gravitate towards what they know and who they know. But overall, as far as being a student and higher learning, you could get a lot out of this position, because the Mercury seeks to be a master of whatever it is that they want to do. Last thing I would say is that this Mercury overall does well in conjunctions, but any planet conjunct this Mercury helps steer it towards the truth. So if it's a Mercury conjunct Mars, it'll really steer them towards, you know, finding the higher wisdom behind their willpower. You know what I mean? Or what it is, you know, how to exert their own physical prowess or individuality. If this is conjunct Sun, we can definitely get that type of Sagittarius philosopher, very wise, you know what I mean, kind of thing. And as far as writing goes, they also make very, very good writers, because they write with that wisdom, and you know, they want you to come away with something deeper. Mercury and Gemini is like, I want you to understand. All right, so think about it. Think about it in that case, and whatever Mercury you have, look at the opposite sign. It'll help you expand. All right, guys. So this is my interpretation of Mercury and Sagittarius. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, feel free to do so. If you need a reading, email me. Until next time, peace.